welcome to another exciting edition of In Focus on Time TV. I'm your host, Elizabeth Monso. Today, our guest is the Dean of Cal State Fullerton's College of Communications, Dr. William Briggs. Dr. Briggs, thank you very much for being on our show today.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Nice to be here.
Well, we're very excited to have you here. You are the new Dean of the College of Cal State Fullerton's Communication. How has your transition been?
Well, my transition's been, for me, an easy one. I've been very welcomed here. I feel very comfortable being here, and I'm very excited about the prospects for our college.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your educational and work background?
Well, I've spent about 3 decades in communication education, worked professionally in communication in a variety of fields before that, broadcast journalism, public relations, advertising, and then made the transition into teaching and spent almost 30 years at San Jose State before coming down here to Cal State Fullerton. Oh
wow, that's very impressive. Now, what attracted you to this very exciting field of communications?
To the field itself. Mm-hmm. I think I've always been a storyteller. The strengths for me when I was in school were in areas where verbal skills were probably more important, and it just seemed like a good fit when time came for me to make some career decisions.
Now, can you tell us about the programs and departments that make up the College of Communications?
Sure, I'd be happy to. The College of Communication has 3 strong departments. There's a Department of Communications, the Department of Human Communication Studies, and the Department of Radio, Television, and Film. And I'd like to tell you a little bit of detail about each one of these. In the Department of Communications, the students can get either a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in communications in such areas as communications, advertising, entertainment studies, journalism, photo communications, or public relations. In the Department of Human Communication Studies, we have bachelor's degrees and master's degrees in human communication studies, argumentation and persuasion, intercultural communication, interpersonal communication, and organizational communication. And we also have bachelor's and master's degrees in communicative disorders, where students can study such things as speech pathology, audiology, speech and language development, intercultural clinic practice, aphasia and adult therapy, and phonology. And then in the Department of Radio and Television and Film, students can get a bachelor's degree in radio, TV, film criticism, production, writing, and we have a brand new Master's of Fine Arts degree in screenwriting as well in the Department of Radio, TV, Film. So we have a broad range of academic programs that the students can choose among.
Now, with this broad range of academic programs, what skills can students hope to achieve in the College of Communications?
Well, they can achieve skills in 2 different ways. One are broad skills of critical thinking, of basic communication skills which can serve them in good stead no matter what field they end up working in, whether they work in the communication industries or not. I think any business, any line of work requires people who know how to process information and disseminate information effectively to a wide group of people. On the other hand, we could look at it as providing specific skills for people who want to go to work in those areas which deal primarily with the media or with providing information on behalf of organizations through the media, oftentimes to wide ranges of audiences. So we can provide you with the critical thinking skills that you need for basic educated citizenship in our society, and we can provide you with specific skills and toolbox to go out and get a job.
Now, speaking about jobs, what career opportunities can students hope to find with a degree from the College of Communications?
Well, it's an enormous range of things that people can aspire to, depending on how they structure their education and what they focus on while they're in school. Obviously, they can go into media-related businesses, television, such as what we're doing right now. They can go into traditional journalism in all of its different forms of newspapers, magazines, photojournalism, broadcast journalism. They can go into advertising. They can go into where they can be either creative or management people in the advertising world. They can work in public relations, in an agency setting, in a corporate setting, or even in a nonprofit setting. Most all organizations of any kind need somebody who can be their spokesperson, somebody who can communicate their message to their audience, to their stockholders, for example. They can go off and find positions in any number of other kinds of business, education, healthcare fields where communication skills are going to be necessary. In fact, we've even seen some studies that predict that in the future, more and more people who actually become the heads of organizations and businesses will come from the ranks of people with strong communication skills than ever before.
It's definitely a good major to have under your belt. Now, does your college offer any scholarships? If so, what are some of these scholarships and how can students apply?
Well, we offer a wide range of scholarships. You know, we fully believe that we want to try and make education as accessible and affordable for our students as possible, given the resources that we have. And to that end, we're ambitious in our fundraising efforts. Just within this year, we've doubled the amount of money that we do have available for scholarships. The College of Communication students generally should use the basic Cal State Fullerton scholarship application, although each scholarship tends to have a little bit of a different requirement as to what they're looking for to provide that scholarship. And I'd like to say that one thing that I'm real happy about that we've just put in place is a new category that I'm calling the Dean's Scholarship, whereby we're taking students who were applicants for the President's Scholarship here at Cal State Fullerton, and we're providing them with a similar, although not quite as great, 4-year program of scholarship as long as they stay majoring in the College of Communications.
Well, it's very good news. Actually, we're at the Front and Center event. We're for the President's Scholars.
That's right.
So that was a great event. Now, what are some of the resources that are available to students to help them prepare for their careers? I know, being a communications major myself, I know we benefit very much from being very hands-on in the classroom, versus other Cal States or UCs that focus a little bit more in theory. So what resources available are for students in the Department of Communications?
Well, we don't discount the theory. And the time that you spend in the classroom is really important, but the time that you spend in the lab is just as important.
Correct.
And so we have studios, and we have computer laboratories, and we have editing suites, and all of the different kinds of technical support that somebody needs to learn whatever it is, the skill that they're trying to learn for that particular line of work. In addition, we have a wide range of clubs and activities that students can participate in. Obviously, we want our students to have meaningful internships while they're still at the university to prepare them for the job market. So we have a variety of different kinds of activities that complement what they're doing in the classroom to give them that edge when they graduate.
That's right. I know we have a Comm Week coming up. I'm sure that helps students get in there for internships or potential employers.
Absolutely, and from what I've heard from alumni that have gone through Comm Week in the past, it's one of the most important things that they encounter during the academic year here. It's a chance for them to meet scores of different professionals that come onto campus, oftentimes people who graduated here and come back, and give of themselves to talk with the students and to network and to provide access and internship opportunities for the students coming back. And we cram it, we do that all year long, but in Comm Week it gets concentrated into one really serious week that's a big deal, and I'm very excited about that.
Wonderful. Now, I know we have an impressive list of alumni who have gone on and have had very successful careers after graduating from Cal State Fullerton's communication program. Can you tell us a little bit about some of these alumni?
Well, you're right. There have been a number. I think probably right now the one that's getting the most buzz is Matthew Labatique, who was nominated for an Oscar for doing the cinematography on the movie The Black Swan. Oh. And we're very proud of him. But we have a number of other alumni who are very accomplished too. Vicky Vargas, the Orange County Bureau Chief for NBC Television News, for example, is an alum. Gary Sherwin, who's getting this year's Vision and Visionaries Award from the university is one of our alums that came out of the COM program and now heads up the Destination Newport. He's the CEO for Destination Newport. So again, a variety of different occupations that these people have gone off into after coming through the College of Communications here at Cal State Fullerton.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your role models and mentors that you've had that have helped you get to where you are today?
Well, I suppose there have been a lot. You know, I'd probably have to start with my mother, who sacrificed a lot so that I had educational opportunities myself growing up. I think a lot of my heroes have always been teachers. You know, ancient teachers like Socrates, not that I was around then, but Joshua Chamberlain, the hero of the Battle of Gettysburg during the Civil War, who went on to become the president of Bowdoin College and in Maine. Particular historical hero. In more modern times, the broadcaster Edward R. Murrow, who told us that we are not descended from timid men, that we need to be bold in our defense of the First Amendment, for example. Political and social heroes like Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King and his wife Coretta Scott King, Cesar Chavez, the Dalai Lama, Nelson Mandela. These are people that have meant a lot to me.
Wonderful. Now, talking about the economy and all the challenges that are facing higher education, budget cuts, salary cuts, reduced class enrollments, how do you strive to move forward in spite of these challenges?
We have two choices. We can either say the sky is falling and there's nothing we can do about it, or we can say, yes, we're in a crisis right now. We're in a bad place. We wish we weren't, but we are. But nevertheless, we're not going to let it get us down. We're going to keep moving forward to the extent that we're capable of. We're not going to sacrifice program quality. We're going to maintain the courses and the programs that we have in place to the best of our ability. We're going to work doubly hard at managing what resources we have and at acquiring new resources to help us supplement what we need, so that the students that are in our program are still going to be able to get the education that they deserve, and that we'll be able to continue to attract more students to come here.
Definitely. Now, being a dean is a collaborative process. How do you collaborate with the deans of other colleges in order to not only provide Cal State Fullerton students with the best education possible, but also to prepare them for their careers?
Well, I think you're right. It's a collaborative process, and the deans on this campus meet quite frequently with the academic vice president to basically chart the course for where this college, where this university is headed. And we take our guidance from the president and from the vice president, but we work as counsel to the upper administration to let them know the directions that our colleges need to go, what our needs are, what our goals are. We spend a lot of time in strategic planning. I'm finding that Cal State Fullerton has done a very good job of preparing for eventualities as far as budget crises and so forth are concerned. And I think we're in a position where we're going to be able to ride out whatever comes in the next year or two as well as possible. Nobody has a crystal ball to exactly know what the future looks like, but I think Cal State Fullerton is probably in better shape than maybe some of our sister campuses, because the management here has really taken this job seriously, and I think done a splendid job as far as preparing for it.
Now, being the new dean, what are some of the plans that you have in store for the College of Communications?
Well, as I said, we're not going to sit still. We're going to move forward. Probably the most exciting thing that we've got on the books is the establishment of two new centers. We're putting together a center for tourism and entertainment communications, and also a center for international communications and media. Both of these centers are the result of philanthropic donations that were given to our college by the late Professor William Maxwell. And with these two centers, we're going to be able to supplement what's going on in the classroom with some outside activities to attract scholars, to attract business, obviously to attract resources to our college to support either the tourism effort or the international effort, both of which I think are extremely important. Tourism, of course, is an $8 billion industry in Orange County with an infrastructure that's incredible as far as tourism is concerned and entertainment. And international is equally important as we try to prepare students to be citizens in a global environment.
Now, how do you prepare students who are about to graduate into the real world? What do you do to prepare them? Well, this is, what we do in the classroom, but then outside of the classroom. And do you offer any extended help once they graduate?
Well, if they're going to have to graduate in order to really see what it's like. But we've tried to simulate that as much as possible while they're here. That's why practical experience, all the work that they spend in labs, all the time that they spend with alumni who come back and give professional advice, the kind of faculty that we hire who are people who are both academically trained but also have a lot of professional experience to give the student as real world an experience while they're still at the university as possible. And then at graduation, even though that's a little nerve-wracking for some students sometimes, we find, the data suggest that our students are very, very well prepared to go out and find these job situations. Even in a down economy where unemployment might be a little higher, the Cal State Fullerton students from the College of Communications are fairly successful in finding job opportunities. And we do hear from employers that oftentimes they prefer students that come out of the Cal State Fullerton program to students that come from some other universities in the area because of our mix of an educational background, but also a high level of very skilled practical training. And you put those two things together, and if the student took it seriously while they were here, I don't think they could be better prepared by the time they leave. Now, if we had the student for twice as long, perhaps we could do even more. But obviously that's not something that
there's a time limit
that a student wants to do either.
That's
I know
right.
students are always anxious to get out of school and get on with their lives, and they should be. So I think working within the framework of our bachelor's degree requirements and trying to beat the cost of going to university in the first place, that the students are well served within their 4 or 5 years that they're here, and then they can get on with their lives and be fairly sure that they're going to be successful.
Wonderful. Those are great news. Now, what words of encouragement and advice would you give to students who are thinking about majoring in the field of communications?
If you look at the communication field, you'll notice one thing, and that is that it's changing almost every day. The kinds of technology, for example, that a freshman might encounter, it's going to be different by the time they're a senior. And the student can't be afraid of that change. And we can't be afraid of that change here at the university either. We have to try and keep up with that for the sake of the students. But change is a good thing, and it's inevitable. So it's senseless to fight it. I think if a person embraces the change and says, okay, this is a good thing, then that shouldn't be much of a problem. And a student that wants to go into the communication field now, early in the 21st century, is probably going into one of the most exciting, dynamic, creative areas of our entire economy. And it's an area that's just going to get bigger. More and more use of interesting delivery systems, digital animation, whatever, provides more and more opportunities for people to find interesting lines of work, to satisfy themselves professionally and creatively. And I can't think of a better place for a student to want to go than into some aspect of the communication business.
Wonderful. Now, finally, what words of advice would you give to our viewers about having a college education in today's world?
Well, there's no question that we're now in a knowledge society. You know, I worry sometimes about a downturn in education in California because it means that a certain number of people are not going to have the opportunity to get a college education, and that's going to put them at risk. All of the data suggests that a person that receives a college education not only is going to make a substantial amount of money more over the course of their life, but they're going to have a huge increase in job satisfaction, in opportunities in their life, and a person who for whatever reason doesn't avail themselves of a college education is really consigning themselves to being a second-tier citizen in our society. Now, that's too bad, but that is the reality. And so I think that I hope very much that the dream of access to education for most everybody in California stays a reality. It's served us well for as long as I can remember, and I just hope that that continues to be the case going into the future.
Dr. Briggs, thank you very much for being on our show today. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Elizabeth. The pleasure was mine.
Wonderful. We want to thank Dr. William Briggs for being on our show. If you want to find out more information about the College of Communications, you can log on to communications.fullerton.edu. From campus of Cal State Fullerton, I'm Elizabeth Manso. Thank you very much for watching In Focus on Time TV.